Robbie Williams Rewind.
Welcome to Robbie Williams Rewind. We are the champions. I'm Matt.
And I'm Lucy.
And along with help from special guest fans, we take you on an in-depth rewind through the solo career of multi-award winning singer, songwriter and entertainer Robbie Williams.
Today we're talking about the remaining tracks off Rudebox, as well as its B-sides and some rare songs Robbie worked on during this period. And we've got the lovely Jacek with us again.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm back.
Great to have you back.
Yeah, it's as if we didn't stop.
Almost.
So obviously, you know, listeners, we have covered half of Rudebox already. So
Yes.
we're going to be doing the second half.
Yeah, so do not listen to this episode unless you've listened to episode 14.
Yes. So I was just trying to think if that was the episode number.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise
I'm
you won't
only
know who I am.
kidding. You need to know
Yeah.
who Jacek is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly, the Rudebox expert. And also, this is the second part of the Rudebox conspiracies segment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you got any other stories that you've thought of that you could talk to us about just before we kick in?
I
the songs?
did. So after the Close Encounters show, the whole Polish crew I was with at the time, Asha, Monica, Basia, Aika, Marek, and many others that we met at the time. We all kind of became a small kind of Polish Robbie Williams family and visited each other multiple times all around Poland. People would host little kind of Robbie Williams weekends, basically. So we'd sit and watch, you know, DVDs, or look at this, you know, Come Undone DVD single that I got, or Sexed Up DVD single, or whatever it was. And, you know, I'd show off all these little gems that I had in my possession, and the little videos that people might not have seen. And so after that, we thought, Rob's Adidas top from the Close Encounters tour, the white one with RPW written on the back, is really cool.
Yeah,
and we really want one. So we rushed once when we were in Warsaw to a shop, Adidas shop, because we couldn't get the official merchandise, and we got the Adidas tops and managed to iron on the RPW on the back. So everyone had a different coloured Adidas top, and the RPW on the back, which was great. Yeah, wouldn't happen now because of copyrights and stuff like that. But yeah, we managed to do it at the time, and that was our kind of official lounge wear when we were meeting up, and everyone would have one, and everyone would have different colours. I had the black and white. Just like you there, Matt. But yeah, and my mum had a purple one, I think. I can't remember.
Good choice of colour. That's my favourite.
There you go. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I thought that I'd mention and give a shout out to all of these lovely people that I met along the way. And yeah, as I mentioned, for example, for Asha's wedding, we were invited there as well. And yeah, so Rob does make like little families out of his fans as well. And I'm not sure that he knows that you know, that he brings people together in that sort of way.
Hopefully he does know that.
Yeah. Yeah, one for my documentary that might come out one day. Yeah, and then I thought, oh, of course, I saw him at the another time I saw him was in the Bavarian Village in London when he was doing a secret gig.
For Christmas.
For Christmas, yeah. For
we
Christmas
were
present.
there.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I saw Amanda there. And I saw someone else. I can't remember. I was there with a friend, and that was a good show as well. But I was filming quite a lot of it with my new phone at the time. And it turns out that the new phones aren't too good to film concerts because the lights get reflected in the lens. So top tip, no more filming at concerts, like high quality stuff, unfortunately.
Or just take a normal camera.
Yeah. You've got to hide it somewhere. That was the problem with the heavy entertainment show, because James wanted me to film with a GoPro, and obviously I wasn't allowed to bring any recording equipment. So we thought, okay, let's do it on the phone, and we did it on the iPhone 6 I had at the time, and so I filmed all of it mostly, and then he met me at the barrier and gave me the GoPro. But still, even though there was security there and it was signed off, there was multiple people, like security people, that would walk around the camera crew and try to get the GoPro off me, because you can't film the show. And and one of the other, like, more junior security people had to say, no, it's fine, it's signed off, don't worry about it. And they were really confused mid-show. Suddenly this junior security guard is telling the big people higher up what to do. Yeah. It was a tough show to film because I had one iPhone in one hand and the GoPro in the other, so I can't remember much about the show, but I think it was good.
It's kind of sad in a way, though. Hopefully that wasn't your only date that you went to.
On that tour, it was, unfortunately.
You did go to the dress rehearsal.
I did go to the dress rehearsal. Yeah. So yeah, that's true. That's true. And then just after the Christmas present came out, I got Rob to sign my iPod, because I went to meet a friend just after a massive birthday bash that I had at the time, and I was very tired, and we met up at this Cafe Nero by the BBC in Oxford Street, and there was Rob coming out of Radio 5 or wherever he was at the time, Radio 2, I can't remember. And he was signing stuff, and some people gave him Terry's chocolate oranges. And I thought, yeah, sign my iPod, because I've got nothing on me. Don't have any CDs or anything. And yeah, he signed my iPod, so I've got one of the only iPods signed. But yeah, I've been walking around with it now, so it's slightly faded, unfortunately. Yeah. But that's all right. And one thing that I wanted to kind of touch upon is, because I don't think that gets a lot of recognition, the Robbie Williams microphone twirl is just
good shout
something, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
it really is.
As a kid, I remember I tried to do that. I just felt the coolest when I did it. When I finally got it, I got my grandmother to buy me a wireless microphone, not knowing how microphones work, and thinking that I would have a massive PA system walking around me and probably projecting my voice. Anyway, I've twirled it so many times and it dropped so many times that I don't think it works anymore. But yeah, I do have that, and I tend to twirl anything now, from like deodorant cans to anything I might have, the mic twirl like that, or the hairbrush. Yeah. I do that as well.
I bet you're one of those bottle flippers, aren't you, that flips the bottle up to see if it can land on something.
Yeah. Try to do that as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so Rob's been kind of an influence in that. And just anything that he kind of tries, he becomes good at, which boggles my mind. Because it's the story with golf, for example. He just picked up a club and started swinging at it, and there you go. He's really good at it, and many other things. So he's taught me that there's nothing that you should be really scared of, and just give it a go, and you'll figure it out, and that's how I've grown up, really. Try and take risks and try new stuff, and yeah, here we are.
That's a great life ethic.
Yeah. Like that.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing those stories, and that is a good shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mark 12.
I've got one more story, but that's by the end of Rudebox. For the end of the Rudebox songs.
Oh, a little teaser.
A little teaser there. You've got to listen till the end.
So yeah, while I was doing the research for Rudebox, I did come across an interview. It was it's on YouTube, and I think it's just called Robbie Williams Interview 2006 or something. But it was clearly done as like a print interview, wasn't it? Because you watched it with me.
Yes.
But they were recording it probably just to make it easier for transcribing it and things. So he's instead of it being like a TV interview where he's playing up to the cameras, he's just sat very calmly, just talking. It was quite different, wasn't it?
It's as if the camera had just been left rolling in the corner. I don't know, maybe for just some B-roll shots or something,
Yeah.
just for reference. But he wasn't mic'd up, so it was all very echoey, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
the journalist was obviously recording it, but he was.
But it was quite in depth and quite just answering the questions normally, no messing about. So it was interesting.
He was extremely composed, which he normally is, but relaxed and composed and focused and absolutely no messing about. And bless the journalist, some of her questions weren't particularly clear, but he worked with her and he answered them, and there was just no messing about. And I said to Lucy, what's going on here? You know, he's being super kind, super nice, which he always is, of course, and just different behaviour. And you reckon it was because the camera wasn't rolling, or
because it wasn't going to go out on TV, so he was just chilled, just answering her questions. But there was a quote in that interview that I found very interesting, so we just put that in now because I thought it'd be good to just talk about it quickly.
So Rob said, "I'm very passionate about this album. It's reinvented me as an artist. It's reinvigorated me. I had to ask my management, let me do some interviews for this album. Let me do some work during the day. I'm campaigning. I want people to buy it. I want people to listen to it. I want people to love it. I've just started getting going. I've got lots of plans for the next year too. The greatest thing about this job is making albums. The worst thing is promoting them. I hate it. As soon as an album comes out, it's over for me. I'm on to the next one. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming everyone's way. Too much stuff, in fact, in the next 18 months. This album won't come out, and then you won't see Robbie Williams for a while. Next year, there's going to be more and more and more."
But clearly, that didn't happen.
There wasn't more and more and more.
Because that was the end of that, and we didn't see him for 3 years. So I just found it really interesting that at the time he made this album and put it out, clearly he had plans for so much more.
Yeah.
And we've never got to see what could have been. I guess because of the rehab and the perception that Rudebox didn't do very well, it just all went by the wayside.
Yeah.
Sad.
It is indeed. I wonder if he constantly says in recent Insta lives that he'd like to put out, like a dance album or something like that. Could that be construed as a Rudebox 2?
Yeah, it could be, couldn't it?
The sequel.
Yeah.
Yes. I am looking forward to that. Every time he mentions his EDM album, or every time he did mention it on Insta Lives, I was like straight on it. Rob, we got to hear it. Come on, get it out there. I love a bit of dance. So if he does his Berlin project, we're there. Might have to just camp out there for several weeks.
The tour would look weird, though, if it was an EDM album.
Well, I don't think he would tour it. He just wants to do this DJ thing.
It wouldn't. Yeah. I'm wondering. Yeah, he's thinking about.
You think he wouldn't get like an Ibiza residence?
Oh, maybe something like that.
I think he's thinking about a different style of project. Yeah, like maybe more venue based, smaller, maybe more select. I don't know. That's my thinking. I mean, there was something rumored to be happening in Dubai again, but I think that was possibly just the press saying that. Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought I'd drop that quote in there. Should we go on to the songs?
Sure,
Yeah,
I just had a quick question. Did you ever see the Close Encounters tour when Rudebox was in the set list?
Yes, we did. Yeah, twice.
Nice. See, I think it was a month or two before he put it in the set list. So
he
I
put it
didn't
in the UK, and the UK was the end of the tour.
Yeah,
apart from Australia.
Australia, yeah.
So, yeah, we were lucky.
Yeah,
we got it.
Yeah, because I think we only had Let Me Entertain You, I think Kids and Angels, whereas there was Rudebox.
He did mix it up a bit on that tour. When we read the songs out for that tour, it was very mixed.
Yeah.
It kept changing.
And do you have a tour, or no, you probably weren't at most of the shows, but like I don't know, like the Albert Hall show or a show in particular that you're like, oh, I wish I was at that, but you weren't?
Yeah, the Albert Hall.
Yeah, you said it. The Albert Hall gig.
Couldn't afford it at the time, and I didn't have any friends that wanted to pay that much to go either. Oh, because me and Matt weren't together at that point. So, yeah.
I actually don't think we could really, either of us, I don't know, just don't, it was, the tickets were that expensive that we just...
Because I'd only just moved to London. I was on, admin assistant wages.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford
on that documentary. There's like someone who paid like 20 grand in front of the
Oh.
Jesus.
I don't think I'd do that.
I mean, I would never pay that much, but however, that show, he was on it. I mean, if you've heard the podcast where we're talking about that, he's just absolutely in the zone, and I've never quite seen him in that zone really ever again. I mean, you know, he's done some brilliant performances, but there was something about that particular night. The fact that it was filmed live and completely live, and just the production of it, everything was just... So, yeah, that would probably be the one, I think.
Yeah.
My one would be the Robbie Williams show, just because I've played that DVD to death, except Nebworth, obviously. But Nebworth, I feel like in a sort of way you kind of get that on those bigger shows. Obviously there's not that many people, and he was on different, you know, form at the time. But yeah, I've just seen, I think that the exclusivity of the Robbie Williams show at Pinewood and the Albert Hall would be the two kind of top picks for me. Although I am quite I really like the Cologne live in 2001 show. Yeah. I really like that one as well, I think. But it'd be interesting to see a Rudebox-esque more tour, I guess.
Yeah, it would be. I'd love that.
Let's see what happens.
Jump in.
Okay, so Burslem Normals, we'll start there. Written by Rob, Kelvin and Danny, and produced by Kelvin and Danny. Rob said, "It is about an ideal of youth. It is about how in the 80s and the early 90s, there were so many avenues to explore and so many gangs to be a part of. Youth culture these days, depressingly, seems just about the chav. Back then, we had so much choice, and the Burslem Normals was a piece of graffiti from the town I was born in. I don't know what they were into, but they sound cool as fuck. I have always liked what I like, and it has always been varied, and fortunately I find myself in a position where I do not have to pigeonhole myself. The sentiment in this song is the same as the sentiment in the song Heaven from Here, but wonkier."
A short film was directed by George Kay and Jim Field Smith. Jim said, "George, who wrote the script, had the idea of a kid who is planning to run away from home. The classic child stunt we thought pretty much everyone would have had experience of. But the twist in Goodbye to the Normals is that it quickly transpires that the kid is genuinely planning to run away from home. Part, or maybe all of it, is available on the Inner Sanctum DVD that got sent out to members."
Yeah, so if any of you have got that, you can watch that little clip. It's quite funny.
Am I able to talk about that?
Yeah, you can talk about that, yeah.
Jacek, have you seen that video?
Yeah.
It's really odd, isn't it? I mean, so the kid's like packing up his bag, and the parents are sort of like casually talking to him, and he's still getting it all packed, and then he goes out and
she gives him a sandwich or something.
And then they're out the front like waving him off, and he walks down. They're waiting for him to come back because they think that he's just going to come back, and he does come back, and then rushes in the house, and then comes out, and he went, "Is it passport?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Forgot my fucking passport."
Yeah, I remember that.
Says, fucking.
He's about 8 or something.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
And the parents are like, "What?"
That was funny.
What it's got to do with Burslem Normals, I don't really know, but you know, it's funny.
Yeah. No, I remember that. I've watched all of these DVDs to death, and I just can't remember all of the content that's on, you know, different discs basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Inner Sanctum DVD, that was a fun one. With all the postcards inside and the little autograph. Obviously it wasn't real, but a nice little touch for the fans there.
Yeah. So what do we think of the actual song, Burslem Normals? Matt, do you want to go first?
Okay. Yeah, it's a slow and melancholy feeling song. It makes me feel a bit weird listening to it. Not to say I don't like it, but it's just giving that feeling. The intro itself is sort of quite haunting. You know, there's that simple note structure and there's very slowly pronounced words, but equally there's something very compelling about that too. It sort of, you know, pulls you in. I guess, I don't know, is it about the normal people in the situation in Burslem? Now I know from what we've just said that actually it is about maybe a group of people if it was written in graffiti.
Yeah.
I feel in a way that Robbie sometimes wonders what it might be like to not be where he is today.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he's fascinated by what normal people are all about as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I love the line, they know they're born today.
Yeah, I like that.
Is this a play on words of they don't know they're born?
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people go, oh, they don't know they're born. You know, they know they're born.
Yeah,
today.
I
think
wrote that down.
Quite profound. So
is it basically saying that kids are kind of more spoilt these days? They know exactly what they can get and will get almost.
And then whatever happened to the Mean Mortals crew, the fine young casuals blew a fuse, and all the Burslem lads, now that they're all dads, they meant so much to me, it makes me sad. That's a lovely line as well.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different, but I kind of like it, I think.
Jacek, what do you think?
Well, I think it's an ultimate nostalgia song, and it kind of hits me in the same way as the end of Louise does. It reminds me of the times when me and my mum used to go to my grandmother's, 2 hours away from Krakow, and back for the weekends, and we'd listen to this album during the snowy nights when we drove back, and it was always a kind of, nostalgia, thinking about, the place that I grew up in with my grandmother. And now it just reminds me of that time and of my kind of growing up and all the various different places. And the line that you mentioned, and so the Burslem lads, now that they're all dads, they meant so much to me, it makes me sad. I really connect with that lyric because all of my friends now are becoming dads, and it's no longer as it used to be, us going out constantly or meeting up and doing nonsense, talking about nonsense, and having the main priority of just having fun, and that's about it. So they're building lives, and it's great, and that's the way it's supposed to go. But there's a massive part of me, the nostalgia, that wants to go back to those times when we were carefree and didn't have to pretend to be adults. So Burslem Normals hits different for me.
Yeah, I really like it. I think I like the mellowness. It's got kind of like bubble sound effects on it.
Yeah,
right.
Which I quite like.
Yeah. At the very end.
Yeah, and I really like his deep tone.
Yeah.
And also something about this song weirdly reminds me of the Candy Flip version, Strawberry Fields Forever, which obviously, was it Kelvin or Danny worked on one of them. Something about the mellowness of it and the kind of almost trippy kind of sound. I don't know.
Yeah.
A bit sort of Beatles-esque, I don't know, even. They're weird from some of their weirder stuff. But I just find it really enjoyable.
The Sgt. Pepper sort of era.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just sort of, takes me to that. I like the melody and the writing's now not there at all. Can you stand what you stood for? Are you more normal than before? I like that bit. Yeah, I just think it's a beautiful kind of song. It's just different. It's much different, more different to the rest of the album, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't imagine it on any other album as well.
No.
Yeah.
So I think it's found its home.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think he would ever sing it live, though.
No. And I don't think I'd want to hear it live.
No.
But I'm glad that, I Will Talk in Hollywood Will Listen, it managed to find a good album, Home.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to Kiss Me then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Written by Stephen Duffy and produced by Dave Lee. Stephen wrote it in 1979. Rob said, "Stephen Duffy plays like he hates it. I wanted to do it as I wanted him to see how good the track is. Also, when this track came out in 1981, something nice must have been happening to me at the time, because it makes me feel full of hope. Youth's yearning for life and love and all of that. Does he like it? I don't know. I daren't ask him. Okay, so I just asked him, and yes, he does." Producer Dave Lee said, "I think this was a nod in Stephen's direction to do a cover version of his best-known song, because Robbie knew the song pretty well. It wasn't a slow process. He laid down the vocals pretty quickly."
A video short was directed by Joe Tucker, who said, "I really like Robbie's version of Kiss Me. It's a great pop song, and the synth melodies reminded me of Spectrum games I used to play as a kid." Oh, I used to have a Spectrum. Shows how old I am. When I heard his version, I immediately had this image of some sort of huge creature buoyantly strolling down a street, high-fiving people. I thought it'd be cool if he was a boombox man, because then he'd be like some sort of walking party. Plus, it seemed to fit in with the old-school hip-hop references on the rest of the album. But it was more a pop image. And so I figured he should be carrying a little man on his shoulder in the way a human might carry a ghetto blaster. I wanted to get him involved in some sort of condensed love story because I figured it was a nice metaphor for pop songs in general, and thus Tape Girl was born. Pete Wood, who played Boombox Man, is 6'9".
God.
I thought he was tall when we watched that video. And in costume, he's over 7 foot tall. So it was quite a spectacle.
Whoa.
It was a frantic and crazy day and a night's shooting, but well worth it. It's something I'm really proud of. It was a massive break for me as a director and an exciting project to be involved with. There was an immense amount of creative freedom around the whole thing. It was a very generous project and a unique thing, I think, for such a big artist like Robbie Williams to be doing. Yeah, it was cool. The making of this video is on the Inner Sanctum Members DVD.
I think you could probably find that one on YouTube as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool video, isn't it?
Yeah,
That
it's
is one
funny.
that we did manage to find and watch.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
It's
funny.
surreal and weird and cool.
And they're in Tesco's overnight filming it.
In London somewhere by the looks of it.
Yeah.
So Kiss Me. Who'd like to go first?
Shall I go?
Yeah.
I kind of agree that this cover could have been left off. You know, Rob said that some songs could have been dropped. I
Yeah.
feel like this one could have been dropped because although it's a nice song and he does a good cover, it's just not really necessary. You know, it's sort of had its time, this song, and I don't think Robbie covering it really adds very much. It obviously includes the "Kiss Me with Your Mouth" line that Rob put into A Place to Crash. It's fun, it's upbeat, it's, you know, got a good beat. I like it, but I just feel, you know, okay, we could have just left that off. I don't know whether you've listened to Stephen's original version, but it sounds quite different. His is very 80s.
Yeah.
And also, he's got two versions, the 83 original and then the 1985 hit. And I think that Rob's voice version sounds more like the original from 83's very early 80s sound to it. And I prefer Rob's voice to Stephen's on the song, if I'm honest. Is that naughty to say that?
For Rob's voice to Stephen's.
Yes. Sorry, Stephen.
Well, you're not biased, of course.
No,
but,
of course not. Jacek, what do you think? Kiss Me?
Well, Kiss Me, I agree, could have been left out. Not my cup of tea, and I knew it was a cover, so it might have impacted my listening ability to it. But I mean, it's good. It's nice and upbeat, and I do like the video that you mentioned. But yeah, and it is Rudebox, and somehow I think it needs to be on this album because I don't see where else it could end up if he were to release it. But Yeah, I think it's a skipper for me. It used to be a skipper for me, and I think it still is, unfortunately.
Wow.
Ooh.
Controversial.
Controversial. Yeah.
Matt?
But definitely keep on the album because it's fun and I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear what you're both saying. I mean, it's not one of my absolute faves. I like the disco vibe to it. I love the beginning. Sounds like some sort of cartoon spaceship or a UFO is landing at the beginning, if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And I also just love the fact that Stephen Duffy's classic line comes back again, kiss me with your mouth. There's something about kiss me with your mouth. I don't know what that is. I just love it. And it's repeated no less than 4 times at the end, interspersed with a few instrumentals. So, you know, I've talked about that line before.
Yeah.
I like that. Just, I don't know, it's just so literal. It's funny.
Just walking into a kitchen. Kiss me with your mouth. That was you over the last couple of weeks, I know.
So that's kind of it on Kiss Me, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I know that Lucy wants to get on to the next 2, so that's why she's speeding through.
Was it the last time that he worked with Stephen on?
I think so.
Was that the
yeah.
last song? Shame, because I quite liked the Intensive Care album.
I know,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
It is sad. I don't really understand why they haven't done anything since.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
So should we talk about the 80s?
Yes.
How long have we got to talk about that whole decade? Let's talk about the song. Dad jokes again.
Yeah.
Written by Rob and Jerry Meehan and produced by Jerry, Jerry has been the bass player in Rob's band since 2006. He had a scholarship to the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. He's worked with Stevie Wonder, Annie Lennox, Will Young, Midge-Ure, Boyzone, Brian Ferry and Roger Daltrey.
Rob said, "We kicked around with the idea of a song about the 80s up until I left school and lost my virginity and did all kinds at school. I was obsessed by a track by the Mitchell brothers called Routine Check, and also a big fan of Mike Skinner of the Streets and what he does over records, be it rapping or poetry. It's very similar to Ian Drury's stuff to me. I'm also a big fan of his. He was the first white British rapper. I've always wanted to be a rapper. I've always been jealous of rappers because of how comfy they are and how cool they look. They've always got a tracksuit on and trainers, and I have to dress up because I'm a pop star. I want to be a rapper, but the world won't let me. The only reason I have craved my own niche is because it is not that easy. I love words and will continue to use them. It is bittersweet about a decade where I formed an opinion. I was wrong."
The 80s and the 90s, like most of my songs, are very autobiographical. Are they therapeutical? Maybe. When I think about the 80s and 90s, I don't have any heartache anymore. So maybe write the song, get it out of your system, and then don't worry about it anymore. And that seems to be the case. So yes, it is therapeutic. That was Rob talking
That was
there, not
obviously
me.
Rob, yeah.
So Lucy's
Aces.
got a page of notes that she's going
There you go. Let's go through that.
I think you
Let's
should
unpack
probably
it.
start. Do you want to
Okay.
start?
Well, I don't mind if someone else wants to start. Jacek, would you like to go first?
Well, I think we need to get through that page, so we can. I can interject.
Okay.
It's best that we do that.
Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah.
So I love this song. I love the 80s and the 90s. But I love the
Agreed.
opening music. I think the way it starts is just immediately like, oh my God, this song is so cool already. I love the music throughout. I think it's a masterpiece. I'll never forget how good it sounded live when he sung it at the Under the Radar gig. That was literally one of the best moments of my life.
Yep.
And Matt told me off the other day for saying that was one of my best moments of my life.
Busted.
I was like, well, are there any others? I was just seeking, it was a poor attempt. You can have it.
I mean, it's difficult to contend with the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm not no match for it. No, exactly.
So Yeah, you know, at the concert he introduced it by saying, someone asked me to play the 90s tonight, but I can't. And that was me, because I did it like a Twitter chat at some point.
Yeah.
How occasionally he goes on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I had asked, please, will you play the 90s at the Under the Radar gig? And he'd replied, wrong decade. And so I was like, yes, he's going to play the 80s at least. So when he introduced it and he said, oh, someone asked me to play the 90s, and then a few of my friends knew that it had been me, and they sort of pointed towards me, and he introduced that song looking at me saying,
Yes,
sorry.
he did.
What
I
a
can't
highlight.
play. It was.
Nice.
Can't play the other one.
Can't
but I'll
play
do
that
this
one,
for
but I'll
you.
play this one for you.
Nice.
And, that was a good moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
But this song is amazing, isn't it?
It's fantastic. It's an instant. For me, it was the absolute highlight of when I listened to the whole Rudebox album.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've never got bored of it.
Same.
And it was at the time probably the most listened to track out of all of the songs on the album.
Yeah.
So yeah, huge fan. Huge fan.
It's a cool track.
Right, so amazing lyrics in this song. Me so horny, me so young, and I still get my washing done.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Why not?
A troop track suit. Someone posted something on Twitter about this. It's some sort of tracksuit that people wore. I'd never seen it before, but apparently Rob tweeted his admiration for those
Must
in
have been cool at the time.
2016. British Knights shoes.
Yeah.
Do you remember them? Those sort of trainers. They're almost like ankle boot type trainers, weren't they?
Yes.
Kangol hat, like LL Cool's.
Of course.
Yeah.
He wore those in Take That, and a lot of the Take That fans wore them because Robbie wore them.
That's
Back
a
in the
nice bit
90s.
of trivia there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the melody of the bit when he's saying, then I ran so far away.
Mm-hmm.
I could keep going, but I won't. I love the chorus. I love his voice. I love the bit where he says, and who are you calling Puff? You like Wham, man? I hate that stuff. I love the irony of that as he ended up in a boy band.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to keep going on because I'm taking over the whole song, so someone else speak.
Well, I thought that lyric was about him, that he likes Wham, and someone's telling him
Ah.
that.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
probably
took it
is.
that way. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I could see what
Yeah.
you're saying there.
Yeah. Right,
Anyone
Matt?
else?
Well, obviously, I've listened to Lucy gushing about this song, and I do like it, but Lucy likes it like I can't possibly like it as much as Lucy does. So I have heard you talking about it a lot over the years, and
So
it is
she
a
likes it
classic.
like it's a Kylie song.
Yes, I do.
It's off the scale. I mean, well, we haven't got to the other one yet. So totally biopic storytelling. I mean, it's what Robbie's good at. You know, he's wearing his heart on his sleeve again. I love the sort of melodic sort of rap in it. You know, it's sort of just the way it goes.
Yeah.
It's just gentle
really
and nice, and
Yeah.
and I guess being of a similar generation to Rob, but a few years younger, we can relate to quite a lot of the references in the content of the lyrics. And I was looking at that because I thought I can't outshine Lucy's facts on this or her love for it, but I can look up a few references. So obviously we probably all know Rhythm Was a Dancer, Snap.
The song.
I'm not sure about that though, because it was actually, I'm sure that
Yeah,
was
it was
released in
1992.
1992.
Not really 80s, is
So
it?
anyway.
Yeah, he's a time traveller.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, with all
Pass
these
on the-
Nostradamus songs.
Pass on the left-hand side. So I used to like Musical Youth when I was younger, who had a song called, and I had that on a cassette tape, actually. It was one of my first cassette tapes. And they used to have a song called Pass the Duchy on the left-hand side. And for those of you who don't know what a duchy is actually slang for a joint. And so, yeah, it's about passing the drugs, basically. That was in
Okay.
82. And then Right Turn Clyde was a quote from Clint Eastwood in Any Which Way You Can, where Clint Eastwood had a giant orangutan called Clyde. He used to ride around in his car, and
I didn't know that.
because the indicators didn't work on his. He had like a pickup truck, a big American pickup truck. the orangutan was taught to put his arm out of the window. So Clint would go, right turn, Clyde, and he'd have to put his big arm out as if he was signalling to turn right. And then if Clint wanted to turn left, he put his own arm out. It was, anyway, that was in 1980. And then Take My Breath Away, obviously 1986 from Berlin, and it was in the film Top Gear. Top Gear, yeah. And also The Wonder Years is mentioned, which first came out in 1988. So,
very clever references. I hadn't even picked up on all of those.
There you go. Yeah, I recognise quite a lot of those.
Jacek, do you want
Very
to...
good references. My only reference is to The Year Above Us Had Discovered E, and I said it went for me £12.50. I could rob my mum's purse and buy one off.
I love Chalky.
Chalky. I thought it was Talkie because in Feel he actually mentions this lyric because it's part of John's Gay.
Yes, that's right.
The B-side. And he talks about him and his dad going to Torquay, and that's a true story. That's where he got some drugs. So yeah, it's not Chalky, it's Torquay.
Oh.
Where actually my dad is from. So yeah. Yeah. So so that was one thing that I've noticed. And then one of the favourite lyrics are, and then my granddad died and left a hole in the family and lots of women there to nanny me. So that's exactly kind of what happened to me as well, because my dad was here in England and I was in Poland, raised by mostly women. My mum, my nan, and a lot of aunties and stuff like that. So I do resonate with that. And then I just love all of verse 3. That
I lost my virginity to a girl called Anne-Marie.
And that's just
everything.
Everything rhymes and is just funny and probably true as well.
Well, actually, he did mention that. I don't know whether you watched recently that podcast that he did with Mark Hayes and that American guy. Was it called Another Weekend or something? Mm-hmm. It's on YouTube. And he said on that one that he regretted naming the girl that he'd lost his virginity to in a song because I think it caused her some problems. Yeah,
he always tries to hide the identities. But I mean, Anne-Marie is also a very generic name,
clearly it was probably actually her name.
Yeah.
Because But he also
now
said
that he said it, it's definitely
yes.
We all know.
But he also said that he was a latchkey kid, which meant that his parents would be out at work, or his mum, obviously. So he'd come home and be at home alone for a while. And that it happened in his mum's bed because his bed wasn't big enough, he decided. So he didn't just, brush over it. He went into even more detail.
Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? It gives me also, that verse gives me slight Green Light vibes.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I heard it live as well on the Under the Radar gig. Really like it. And just him having all that nostalgia for those,
memories.
Times, him growing up and being in the 80s and all that kind of stuff. I just really like, and all his youth stuff, reminiscing. Yeah. That's great.
I watched the Under the Radar YouTube concert online with my mum because, she obviously didn't come with us and she does love Robbie. But I did cringe a bit when he sung this song because I've never bought her Rudebox because I just know she wouldn't like it. Bit of a stretch too far, isn't it? Being Catholic that she is.
Yeah, she's relatively liberal, but I think that would have, it might be a bit too much.
So I did sort of cringe a bit when he sung the whole bit,
Yeah, the whole second verse with the second verse, the Catholic, the Catholic shame of Monsoon.
Yeah, but I love it. I think it's hilarious. The "What are you looking at, you mong" bit is a bit risque, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
And he did reference that at the Under the Radar concert. That saying, but again, you can't say that now.
Of its time, unfortunately,
but in the 80s,
as unfortunate and as derogatory as those remarks now seem, that was
That was the way people communicated.
He's stating
It
what
was.
was said
Slang or
in
something.
schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was what people used to say. So
Yeah.
he's reflecting the it's a bit
The
like when you're
time.
talking about historical events, you know. There's
Yeah.
certain historical events we probably think we shouldn't talk about, but actually it happened.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything non-politically correct in it, because that's what it was about, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if they're gonna in the biopic that's coming up, like at least brush over those type of when he was growing up, sort of
Be interesting,
you know,
wouldn't it?
stories. I think they might not, because there's way too much to tell
Yeah.
in 2.5 hours or however long the film's going to be.
It's enough
But
already, yeah.
It'd be nice if it was.
You'd
a
like
TV
to see
show.
some of the earlier stories, would you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be nice if the film had an angle that shows some of the things that maybe haven't been centered on so much over the
Yeah.
How
years, you know.
those things
Yeah.
you know shaped him kind of psychologically as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, but maybe
Yeah.
that's going to be too deep and not much of a biopic. So
Yeah.
I don't know, because they did brush off, you know, in Bohemian Rhapsody, they did brush off some of the
Childhood
controversy and childhood stuff, and so they did keep it quite vanilla from what I heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it's going to be good. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I'd love to
Another,
be in it, but it's in Australia.
It's in Australia.
So Lucy's about halfway down her page.
No,
so let's
done more
see
than
what.
I like the Fingertown Wednesday bit when he sung that at the concert. He had a little hand movement that cracked a lot of people up.
Yeah.
And also it's like Craig David's 7 Days, the way he sings that bit.
Yes.
It's quite funny. And I like how he says, second girl in my year who had seen a breast. I'm in my 30s and changed it to the 40s now, and I'm still impressed. Yeah, I just absolutely love this song, and I wish that he would do a noughties one, or because he's sort of done the 80s and the 90s. I feel like there must be a song he can get out of the noughties.
Well, I feel like Idlewood was kind of like the noughties or the 90s,
that's a
end
good
of the
point.
90s.
Yeah,
That kind of storytelling thing.
Yeah.
But more singing instead of rapping.
yeah,
And I also noticed, just looking at the lyrics now, that he does like to rhyme with the days of the week. So I met a girl on Monday, drank a fizzy pop on Tuesday, things are on Wednesday, and on Thursday and Friday, on Saturday, dumped by Sunday. He's done that in Come Undone, hasn't he?
yeah,
And he's done that with Jonathan Wilkes on the extras in Nobody Someday. He when he riffs on the guitar. He did some Top of the Pops on Tuesday, Yacht on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
And
You've got a good
something
memory
like
for these
Sunday.
things.
I just watched it to death, literally. I could, like, my mum
Did
was
he-
worried that I'd be doing A levels out of this. Like,
Did he steal it from Craig David, or did Craig David steal it from
Craig
him?
David did it first, didn't he? Because that was late 90s, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
But yeah, I just, as you said, I never get bored of this song. I always love it, and he does rapping really well, and I love how honest he is in his lyrics. It
Yeah.
just makes for amazing, amazing songs.
Yep, I agree. And I think it's going to make it slightly easier for me to choose the best song at the end of the show.
I'm not sure I've actually made my mind up on this lot yet, so we'll have to see in a minute.
Okay.
So shall we move on to the 90s?
Yeah, let's go to the
Lucy's got
90s.
another
Yeah.
page on the 90s, so we should move on.
Okay. Written by Rob and Jerry Meehan again, produced by Jerry. The making of Rudebox Part 1 video on YouTube shows some video footage of Rob singing to the 90s during the album cover shoot. That's always nice to watch. He's got a really nice blue tracksuit, much like you're wearing now.
Yes, exactly. Great styling as well, with all the background.
Yeah.
They're like on the subway and he's on the BMX and all the graffiti around and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, I do like that photo shoot and
cool.
the behind the scenes of Rob anywhere
Yes.
is so good. And
Fascinating.
yeah, I just would love to do some behind the scenes footage from any of his things. Yeah. But maybe one day.
Maybe. So Rob
Fingers
said, the 90s was originally going to have a sample from one of my top 5 favourite songs, Wichita Lineman, in it. I didn't like it at first, but I came around to it and did some poetry on it, some comfy rapping, with very English storytelling, like a modern Roald Dahl, but fatter. I look back at it now with a fondness in my heart. I think they are just 2 nice bookends. The 80s, then there was the whole Take That story to tell, which was the 90s. It's weird now. I've spunked all the best material, so I'll have to do something drastic so that we have some source material for the next one.
Love the description there. Rob paid an undisclosed sum to Nigel Martin Smith after conceding that the 90s had suggested Nigel Martin Smith had stolen money from the band. The press statement at the time said, Robbie Williams wishes to make it clear to his fans and the public at large that he did not intend these lyrics to be taken at face value or as a serious statement of the views which he holds of Nigel Martin Smith. Specifically, Robbie Williams did not intend to allege that Nigel Martin Smith has ever stolen any funds from Take That or anyone. Nigel Martin Smith said, I told him I didn't want damages and would happily waive them if he would meet me to chat and put all this negativity behind us. I said we should be friends again, but he refused to meet me. Now he has to pay me damages. Did I lock him in a cage or stick pins in his eyes? I'm not bitter, but it still hurts. The amount paid was estimated to be between £300,000 and £500,000.
Bloody Nigel Martin Smith. That's all I have to say.
We're only making plans for Nigel.
Yeah. So I love this song. This is in my top 10 Robbie songs ever. Ever.
Yes.
As you know, Matt. Jacek, do you want to go first and tell us what you think?
Sure, yeah. I like the 90s as well. If I had to compare between the two, I'd still go with the 80s.
Okay.
Right.
Just because of the flow, it's quicker and a bit more, rappy than this. But yeah, I do like the 90s, as you mentioned, the visual from the making of Rudebox. I do like that as well. It's really clever. It tells the whole story for people, like in one song, basically, for people that might not know what he was going through. In Take That during the 90s. And it's super clever with now it's dinner with Versace lunch of Princess Diana, and I'm gonna get battered if I go out with my manna. Just lyrics upon lyrics upon lyrics that are great. My highlight though is the first 3 months, I nearly quit. I played snooker with my dad. He said, don't be a dick. Unload the bullets. Your mind is a gun. You're going to shoot yourself when they number one. That is, I think my most favourite one. And yeah,
you can just hear Pete saying that, can't you?
Yeah, and he and shows the relationship that they had, together. And the good advice that he's given them. Because imagine if he did decide, no, I'm not going to do
imagine
more.
if he was a dick.
Yeah.
It is a classic. I really like it. It's classic Robbie storytelling again at its best. And obviously he didn't do well at school, but he did get in to Take That instead. So, he didn't do too bad overall. And looking at where he is now, and I really, probably we're going to steal all of Lucy's favourite lines here, but I really love this line. I met the other guys. One seemed like a cock. I think it's going to be like New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
I love the fact. I just love the rhyming of that. It's just so. And then I think he says something about a cock again, doesn't he? It's somewhere further down in the song. But I love that. And I think overall it's a bit of a sad song, obviously.
Yeah.
Some not so nice things sort of happening in it, but I can understand why he wanted to write it. I think he was going through sort of extreme torment at the time, success, fame, realizing that he's not really enjoying it and not really in the right place. He's in the back, not in the front. There was kind of a bit of a conflict going on in him at the time, and I think it really brings that out. Yeah. What do you reckon, Lucy?
Well, it's in my top 10 Robbie songs, I would say. I have been known to say it is my all-time favourite occasionally.
Yeah, I've been known to say that.
Ooh, bold claim.
Yeah. But then something else will come to mind and I think, oh, well, maybe not. But
She does talk about this one a lot.
I just love it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It gets talked about most weeks.
Everything about it is amazing. I love the fact that he's telling the story. I love the tune. It's a shame, obviously, that Nigel Martin Smith wanted to sue him, so we never got the proper version released as it should have been. That makes me sad. I have had the fortune of hearing some of the missing lyrics at some point.
Yeah.
But I won't repeat them on the podcast, and I will not reveal them to anyone who asks me either, because I don't want to get Rob in trouble with anyone releasing anything that, Nigel Martin Smith could get angry about and then sue him for. But it's just amazing. It makes me laugh how quite often when he's talking about his school days, he'll say the lines from this song. Oh, I got no GCSEs, nothing higher than a D. The number of times you hear him say that in interviews.
Well, he says that exact line.
That exact line, yeah. It's like his staple line for talking about his school days and how he didn't do well at school.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How he says he wants to pick Martin and Rich up in a Porsche and buy them lots of trainers. Obviously, he can't drive, so that's never happened.
That'd be difficult, yeah.
But I'd like to hope that he did buy them some trainers and that he's still friends with them. Obviously, I met the other guys, one seemed like a cock line, as you said, but especially I think it's going to be like New Kids on the Block, because I was a New Kids fan first, and I still am. I just, so that's always made me smile. One was like a brother from another mother, but the lead singer made it hard to like him, and I still loved him despite him. See, I really like that line, because at this point, 2006, him and Gary had not made up. But it's nice that he's put that in there. I still loved him despite him. And hopefully Gary took that as a compliment rather than the one seemed like a cock. A horrible comment. Hopefully he saw some niceness in that. Because obviously around this time, Take That obviously reunited. So,
but he's writing the lyrics from that present moment, isn't he? He's not writing them from now. So it was like, that's what he felt. 2006. That's what he felt.
Yeah.
So who is
that's
he?
What he felt at the time about Gary.
Who is he talking about on? Because I didn't think it was Gary. When one was like a brother from another
that's
mother.
Mark. That would be Mark.
But the lead singer made it hard to like him.
That's Gary.
Yeah.
And I still loved him.
But the lead singer was Gary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Made it hard to like him.
No, because he's saying
the brother from another mother.
One was like a brother from another mother, so that's Mark. But then separately, but the lead singer made it hard to like him. He's talking about two different people.
I thought it meant, but the lead singer made it hard to like the brother from another mother.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, he's talking about how Mark was, his best buddy.
Yeah.
And Gary, he couldn't get on with as well.
Oh,
but it's nice to know they're friends now.
Every day. Interesting.
Oh yeah, they've come a long way since then.
Yeah. I did ask him on Upfront why he didn't add in new lyrics to the bits where
you just hear
stuff was
music.
edited out. Yeah, could you not have written something else? And he just replied his standard comment of, "Well, I would have been sued." It's like, well, I knew that, but
he's not going to tell you then, is he?
So, but obviously, I guess by the time the album was nearly out, it was too late for them to write new lyrics, record them, get it published. So it's easier just to edit it out. I do think it's a shame that he couldn't sing it at the Under the Radar gig, because he had always said that he wanted to. He always said he wanted to sing the 80s and the 90s at that gig.
Yes, he did. Yes.
So I really expected him to, but I guess he figured that once he was on that stage, he wouldn't be able to resist singing the proper version. there's no way he'd stand up there. Once he was in the swing of it, he couldn't stand there and not sing.
Yeah,
the whole
I
song.
think he sang them literally once, and maybe then on the Insta live that you mentioned. But yeah, only in that on that show of the Close Encounters tour, and ever since then he's, I think, had a ban on doing that, or someone told him, please don't do that again because it might,
Yeah.
get out of hand. And yeah, it's surprising that video is up there, because it was 2006 and it wasn't like people had great quality mobile phones at the time. And yeah, now you'd be in more trouble, I think, because you'd have multiple copies of that video.
Well, you must send me the link.
I will do. Yeah.
So yes, I wanted to give a massive shout out to Jerry for writing this song with Robbie, and I wish that they would write more together, because it's a load of fun when they do.
Yeah. I tell you the truth, I wasn't a massive fan of Jerry at the beginning, because I was so used to seeing everyone from the previous band. And he was one of the new people coming in on this tour, and I was like, well, I kind of want to see the old band, and he had all these flashy orange boots at the time, and I thought, I'm not exactly sure about this guy. But then he makes these two banging tunes, and he's a really nice guy, with all the backstage footage that we saw from Close Encounters. So yeah, he's won me over.
Yes,
you're a good guy, Jerry.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get him on one day and we can talk to him about it.
We
That'd
will.
Be good.
We will. We'll
and Phil Taylor. I loved him, the guitarist.
Yeah.
Is it Phil Taylor? No, Neil Taylor.
Yeah, Neil.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were getting me confused because I was thinking of Phil Eisler. We mixed
Phil,
the two.
I did. Yeah, I did.
So yeah, I suppose we should move on from the 90s.
Yes, but we thoroughly know that it's a
banger.
favorite, and we rate it, and we do love that. We love that tune.
We'll let you two fight out who's going to pick that at the end then.
Well, I think it's quite sorted, actually.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've predicted it then. Right. Summertime. Let's move on to summertime.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
Written by Rob and Anthony Genn, who Rob co-wrote Clean on Live Through a Lens with. It was produced with William Orbit. Anthony was a Camden regular who had a stint in Pulp aged 16, a spell in Elastica, a short-lived spell as Rob's flatmate as well. This was originally written when he first left Take That with his friend Anthony. Summertime appeared in the credits of the movie Mike Bassett, England Manager, which I've never seen.
No. Nor am I likely to ever watch. Rob said when it was originally written, it was one of the first, if not the first song I wrote when I came out of Take That, and the feel of the song is a complete juxtapose of how I was at the time. When I wrote Summertime, which is a very euphoric up song, I don't think I could have been any more depressed, deluded, lost. I remember I went down to London in a pair of Vivienne Westwood tartan bondage trousers, a pair of black Patrick Cocks, and a lovely white Vivienne Westwood shirt. I was skinny as, a right proper raver, and I moved in with a lady on New Year's night, and by February I was just fat. Fat and horrible and lost all over the place. That was when I met up with Ant Genn, and we wrote the song together. Ant was my indie enfant terrible. I adored him because he was cool as fuck and northern and funny. I wanted to be him, but drugs took their toll on both of us. At least I have a lasting memory of an amazing yet catastrophic summer. Plus I love the fact that little bunnies freeze in the snow.
Rob later said, I thought if only there was a king of ambient. Then I thought, oh, there is. There's William Orbit. You are the wild man of ambient. I am the soft man of pop. The collaboration seemed to gel quite nicely. I think it's been great knowing somebody with such a big name as William has let you come and lie on his sofa and record a vocal on an SM58 and then go through the track 3 or 4 times, do a vocal and then leave on a $50 mic. William told Rob, I appreciate that you didn't tell me to overthink it, because I do sometimes, and you said do your thing, be ambient and enjoy it, and at that point I started to really enjoy it and relax. Rob replied, well, that comes through, in bundles.
So, summertime. Jacek, would you like to go first?
Yeah, summertime. For some reason, on my iTunes, I have no idea how, I've got 2 versions of this song. One sounds like it's been recorded in the 90s. He's got that 90s quality voice to him, kind of from like the Live Through a Lens /
Oh, really?
I've been
So it's like
expecting
a
you
sort of
era.
demo then?
Yeah,
maybe?
I think it might be a demo, and it's just been re-recorded for this album, I think.
Oh, interesting.
So it found a home. I have no idea where it would be, because I've got it in this massive album called B-Sides and Covers or something like that I didn't know where it came from. I just had it on this bootleg CD that someone made of all his B-sides and live versions and stuff like that, and that's where I also had Sweet Jean Vincent from, and some other songs. So yeah, that's where it came from, and yeah, I'll send that.
That would be good to hear.
I've got a favorite lyric from it is, and if your love has met its sad refrain, believe me, you will love again. All the best laid plans of mice and men go wrong. You can hear it in this song, so it's very hopeful, and once again nostalgic about the summertime. So that seems to be like the theme throughout Rudebox. It's not just dance and pop and disco and 80s and electro. It's also nostalgia about the good old days, as they say.
Yeah,
I think it's a nice mellow way to sort of end the album. And he does seem to like ending on a ballad, doesn't he?
What, with the song that comes next?
Well, that's why I said sort of end the album.
Right, yeah, okay.
It's the official end.
I understand what you mean. Yes.
The little bunnies freezing in the snow. Winter's such an ugly brute. I don't like that image. He may think that's funny, but it just makes me feel sad for the little bunnies. Drink a glass of wine and got my glass of shandy. They are very British summertime.
Oh yeah,
type
and
things. Sitting in the pub garden in the sun, the rare days of sun that we get.
Yeah.
I do really like this song, and I'm surprised it took so long to see the light of day if he recorded it, so far back. So it's good that.
Well, I'm not exactly
home.
sure where I've got the version from, but it does seem like it's older than
if he wrote
Escapology.
it when he first left Take That, then yeah, it makes sense. Obviously, Matt, I know Matt's got a favourite lyric. What's your favourite lyric?
Oh, don't steal my favourite lyric.
No, I'm not going to steal it.
Okay.
I'm letting you say
So
it.
my fave line of the entire song, it's quite up there with all of my top fave Robbie lyrics. A dicky dreadlocks, boozing off your socks. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box.
Yeah.
Love it.
The fact
That's
that he
just-
put that into a song.
It's just brilliant. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box. It's
That dance that people used to do. Was it the late 80s or was it the early 90s? I can't remember.
Somewhere around then. Yeah. Great line.
And also, I dream of Santa Ana on the road to Mandalay, a road to Mandalay reference.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
obviously his first reference to Road to Mandalay
Yes.
before he wrote Road to Mandalay.
Yes. Which I think Paul was telling us about the backstory
Connection
to
to
Mandalay, and I think Robbie must
Sinatra.
have been reading about that at the time. Yeah. I think it's quite a dreamlike song. It's sort of like it's one of those songs that sort of washes it over you in a nice sort of way. The vocal arrangement, the production of it. And you were saying about memories of the summer. I think somehow our memories of the summer are always a little bit nicer than our memories of winter or other seasons, because it's warm and fun and
more relaxed.
Got my glass of shandy, now I feel fine. I remember being on long journeys with my parents, and sometimes they would stop in a pub on the way home. And of course, back in those days, children were not allowed in any pub at all. Allowed in the garden, or you had to sit in the car. And I remember us sitting in the car, the drink would come out and we'd eat some crisps or something. And, so that got my glass of shandy kind of reminded me of that. But it's nice that Robbie also acknowledges the other seasons as well in this song. Autumn time, leaves falling all around. Winter time follows soon. And then, unfortunately, there's the little bunnies freezing in the snow line. Winter's such an ugly brute, It's a bit mean. And then, obviously, something poignant must have happened in summer '89. You know, this is how we feel in the summertime. This is how we feel in the summer. Take it back to the summer of 89. Maybe there was a particular thing, holiday or something that happened in 89 that he remembers. Yeah, it's a nice song.
I like the "I got shivers down my spine" that he whispers.
At the very end.
Yeah. I like that bit.
Yeah. So yeah, that album has plenty of that last lyric,
Yes.
last verse,
Little
bits.
snippets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just
It just
tie
sort of-
everything together.
Yeah. It's good. But yeah, that's another excellent song, I think.
So as you say, official end
Official end
to the
to the
album.
album.
But now move on to something quite different from that song.
Yes.
And it's Dickhead.
Yes.
Dickhead.
Shout out to my mate Kuba, who is a massive fan of the song and was with me, and he would be like, "Can we play the last song of the album?" And we used to sit in the car when he came over the weekend and blast it in the car on the CD player. We'd just loop it and just shout "dickhead" all the time.
You didn't drive around the block with it like blasting out of the windows.
No, we
did
were
you?
way too
No.
young. We were 13
Oh.
at the time.
Oh, so just sitting in the car, right?
Yeah, just pretending to be on a road trip, just shouting "dickhead."
So, yeah, this will be entertaining. Written by Rob and Jerry and produced by Jerry. Jerry was over making intensive care, and he had a mobile studio, essentially a laptop on a table. And they started to do this track and turned it into Dickhead. Rob said, "I played this song to death in my car, just like you did, and just wanted to do that album right away. Whatever Dickhead album was going to be, that's what I wanted to do." It did start with Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Dickhead was definitely lent from the Mitchell brothers, so they are to blame for this whole thing. Conversely, amongst my friends, dickhead is the biggest compliment that can be paid. If I call you a dickhead, I like you. But it means the reverse on this record. Life sometimes seems to be a Krypton factor course of idiots. Unfortunately, idiots speak the loudest. This song is for everyone that thinks I am a dickhead. I am just reciprocating. The feeling is mutual. When asked on Pop World what his favourite sweary lyric of his was, he quoted some of Dickhead and asked them how they were going to air that. The presenter said, "We'll just beep it out," which they did. So that aired on Channel 4 on Sunday morning.
Wow.
And Rob said, "In stadiums, you have to hit it down the middle. It's too scary not to. Imagine how terrifying it would be to lose a whole stadium as I kick into, 'Why'd you mug me off in my car, dickhead?'" This song features vocals from MC Tofty, but we're not too sure who that is, as he's only credited with having appeared on this one song.
Now, this is interesting because I thought that I have no idea who MC Tofty is. And
No, you do.
I've always thought that it was Chris Moyles for some reason.
Oh,
Maybe it is. It could be. Just in a different sort of, like a
With a
pseudonym.
Yeah, with a bit of a, slightly changed voice, but
Yeah.
I've always thought that it's him from the BBC One, Radio 1 a breakfast
Chris
show.
did do like these
Comedy
what did
albums.
He call it? He did a comedy album. He did,
Yeah.
Yeah, Robbie's on that one. We'll get to
yes,
those.
that's right.
I Love
yeah.
My Penis, and
Yeah.
then,
Possible.
Charity song.
yeah.
It's very possible.
So I was thinking that was him potentially.
Well, it's a hilarious song, isn't it?
Yes.
So yeah,
Right.
do you want to go first?
Yeah,
With
why
your-
not? I
your
absolutely love this song. It's on the deluxe version, I believe.
Is it not on the normal? I don't know. I've only got deluxe.
I think it's on the limited deluxe edition, I think. And yeah, as I said, me and my mate Kuba, we listened to it a lot. And that's why Rudebox was also one of his more listened to albums, I guess.
Yeah.
And as 13-year-old boys, whenever you get to hear the swear word, you just laugh and giggle, and that was
Yeah.
my mentality. And it was right up our alley, that song. I always thought it was actually about Liam Gallagher. I thought that I heard
Yeah, it could be. couldn't
a
it?
story about that.
Probably.
And if you listen to the lyrics, you know, because they were supposed to have that charity fight and all that kind of stuff when they were bumping heads. So I always thought that was directed at him, this song.
Interesting perspective it could be. Yeah.
And I think that's all I actually have written down about it. It's full of just weird lyrics.
When you were this 13-year-old boy listening to it, did the slang term or the swear word sort of dickhead, was it a thing that you were aware of at that time?
Yeah, because we were at this age where we'd take the dictionary and find the worst words we could find.
Okay.
And unfortunately, you know, Rob being my role model, he introduced me to a plethora of these words, which I then looked up the dictionary, which, you know, I wasn't a fan of the English teachers at the time. Because I introduced my other friends to this lovely language. So
you had a good repertoire of English swear words. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, dickhead's not so much of a swear word, but the reason why I ask is because I remember Lucy and I, we were at secondary school at the same time, right? And I don't know whether you remember it because your school was probably all prim and proper and nice. But dickhead was such a common phrase when I was at secondary school in the 90s. I mean, it was, everyone was calling everyone a dickhead all of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so common. It was every few minutes you heard someone saying dickhead. So, I just find that amusing that you wrote a song about it. And then I was looking at some of the lyrics, again, crazy lyrics. I'm not sitting here to be treated like a dickhead, Bumba Clarkin, Rasclart. And I thought, I've always just sang those bits, not really quite knowing what they mean. And so when he says Bumba Clark, it means, and there's different variations of this, so it's probably not exact if there's anybody that knows Jamaican slang that's listening. It's Jamaican slang equivalent to douchebag or motherfucker, often used as an interjection to express disgust or dismay. So there you go.
Whereas I found a different reference for it.
Well, I'm obviously right, though.
I found it,
but we will hear yours.
I found it was West Indian slang for shit.
Yeah, I mean,
so who knows?
Yeah,
I just think
nice.
it's another word for dickhead. Basically.
It's not nice, and then Rasclart is also Jamaican Creole, which essentially translates in English to arse and cloth. So essentially an arse wipe, as people would say today. It's a deeply offensive and derogatory term, apparently.
Whereas what I found, looked up, it said it was slang for period blood. So also
wow,
derogatory.
Well, I didn't really want to say that on the podcast, so it didn't sound as good. But
well, you know, only saying what I found out.
So the song is totally outrageous enough, and then it takes it up a gear at the end, which I find absolutely hilarious. I love this bit, and I've got to say it. I've got a bucket of shit. Oh yeah, I've got a bucket of shit. I've got a bucket of shit. Oh yeah, I've got a bucket of shit. Not horse shit, cow shit, dog shit, no real shit.
It is funny.
Yeah.
There's one out every night, hundreds of the buckers. It's just, I love the bucket of shit though bit. We like singing that bucket of shit bit.
Yeah.
Don't we? Yes.
I like, my security are a vicious crew. They'll kick fuck out of you. Only if I ask them to, but they'll kick fuck out of you.
You're going home in this Staffordshire ambulance.
Yes.
There's a certain amount of aggression in the song.
Yeah. It's a comedy song in a way, and it's also a very kind of Eminem-like song, just getting some stuff out of his system. And it reminds me of Eminem's Fack song.
Yeah.
And Go to Sleep, which is very, very kind of like,
it has got that real hardcore vibe, that dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun. You know, so very, yeah. Because when you said about listening to it in your car, I can imagine like a car with like neon lights around the bottom, kind of bouncing up and down as you're going along, and that music's blasting out, and
Yeah.
you got your chains on and stuff.
I'd love to see a video for this. Like riding through LA in this low rider with neons all around and jumping up and down. And why are you talking like me, dickhead? She was looking at me, dickhead. What do you think I am, dickhead? Who the fuck are you, dick? That'd be great.
Yeah,
oh my God, Rob, please do that.
We
Or
need to see
travel
that.
back in time and do that video as a bonus.
Yeah. I doubt it'll make it into the biopic somehow, but
No,
maybe
yeah.
we can hope for a special at some point. Can't
Yeah.
we? Good project for you to do there, Rob.
I think it would be hilarious if he sung it at an Under the Radar gig.
Oh, yeah, because everyone would sing every
everyone would
single
just
word.
go, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can sing that one instead of the 90s. I'd be happy. I mean, it'd be nice to hear 90s, but I'll take Dickhead instead.
No, 90s. He did sing this on YouTube Live once. I don't know if you happen to catch that.
YouTube Live.
Yeah, you know how he did all these Insta Lives? So at some point he decided to do a YouTube Live just because Leo could help
Oh,
him
recently?
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a couple of years ago.
I think I missed that one, actually.
Yeah. But when he started playing this, he had such a look of pure delight on his face. Like the naughtiness of playing it just shone through.
Yeah.
And
It's like a kid. I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to do it.
It was a brilliant moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, should we go
Dickhead.
on to the
Let's move on.
B-sides now? Because
Here we
there's
go.
a few to go through.
Sure.
Yeah, so we're going to start with Lone Star Rising, written by Rob, Kelvin and Danny. This was the B-side to Rudebox and also appeared on In and Out of Consciousness. Who's going first on this one?
Shall I
Lone
go?
Star Rising, I
You
think, is... Sorry, I just took over.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Lone Star Rising, I think, is like... It's got that cowboy feeling again of Viva Life on Mars, but much slower.
Yes.
Hence why I haven't gotten way too much into it. I've listened to it, and it's not like I'm purposely gonna skip it, but it's just like that kind of looking out on a weekend at your crops growing. that's what I imagine. And the Lone Star is rising.
Oh, I like that analogy. That's it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't really like this song.
Yeah, I mean
too-
it's not
It's
high
weird.
up there, but it doesn't warrant as much hate as Northern Star.
Northern Town.
Northern Town, sorry. There we go.
I love
Agreed.
Town.
Agreed.
Great track.
We've got a contention here. Oh, see, you like it.
Yeah, Matt.
Oh,
As this will have aired.
Yeah,
The
I
last
think
episode
people
will
have
have
found
aired.
out that I've chosen it.
He
by
picked
now.
it
Yes.
for the
really?
playlist. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
love
know.
Oh my days.
Love
Yes.
Is
Me
it
and-
is
and
it too
Sarah-
late to get off this podcast?
Well, it was partially just to see Lucy and Sarah's reaction, but I do actually quite like it. Lucy was shocked, but we have got different music tastes outside of Robbie. So, well,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
I've got quite an eclectic taste in music, so I can get into all sorts of things. Whereas Lucy listens to about the same sort of five things,
Shut up.
five bands and people.
Yeah, I'm with Lucy on that one then.
Yeah,
That's
thank
about
you.
me as
My
well.
musical taste
It's
is
really
keeps
difficult to
developing.
get me. Like Rob is the one that's making my musical tastes more eclectic. It was really
Yeah,
difficult
same.
for me
well,
to find
that's
new
it.
stuff. Yeah.
Lucy says she doesn't like dance. When Robbie brings dance album out, Lucy will like dance.
Well,
so there you go.
no, because I do like some dance songs. It depends. It depends what they're like.
Well, there's different types of
Yeah.
it as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Back to
back
Rob.
to Lone Star Rising.
Yeah, this song, it feels like, I don't know if it's in like a minor key or something. It's like, it's just
But
grating, I find. Like, I don't like the bums. I feel like it's quite depressing. The sun is shining, so why am I feeling the cold? Lone Star Rising, God only knows where I'll go. No sensation, not even tears rolling down. Just the lyrics are very depressing, and also I find the tune very depressing.
Yeah, it's like being in a very long trip on a horse and just in like 35-degree heat, and you're starting to see things. That's how I imagine it now. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like when it says conversation echoes like ghosts on the town. There's like a ghostly sound effect in the background. That's quite clever. But I think that this shouldn't have been on In and Out of Consciousness, and that Mess Me Up should have been on instead.
Oh, yes. Here we go. Yes, Lucy. Yes. Yes. High five. Yes. Perfect.
What do you think then?
I do agree. I do agree with that. Yeah. I mean, as a B-side to Rudebox, it's definitely a contrast, and not sure if it... I mean, it's got a place, I guess. I don't know where I'd put it, to be honest.
I think it's I know it's experimental. I mean, as you said, it's very different to Rudebox, but in a totally different style. I mean, it definitely sounds like the soundtrack from a cowboy western film at the beginning. The production of it, it's an odd effect that they've got on Rob's voice. It's an auto-tune or a vocoder type effect. And when I hear that effect, it just reminds me of when Cher used to use it on her songs.
Yeah.
You know, that whole... that I can't even do it, but, you know, auto-tune type thing. And obviously he doesn't need that. But it's part of the song, but I just find it a bit odd. And I've tried to make some sense of the lyrics, but sadly didn't get anywhere with that. So can't help you with that one because, you know, they're pretty nonsensical.
Yeah.
And I do agree with Lucy. The song is on a downer most of the way through. It's I find it quite challenging to stick with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not a song that I would listen to out of choice. So, yeah.
I like the lyric, though. It seems like I was always drunk. I lost myself in someone's song.
Yeah.
That's quite nice.
But when all is said and done, I only want to feel the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that lyric as well.
Even though that lyric tries to lift it up or something, and it just, as you say, it just, goes down and down and down. So I do agree.
Let's
so Lone
move on.
Star's not rising, it's going down, basically.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, next.
Let's move on to Mess Me Up. Written by Rob, Kelvin and Danny. And this was the B-side to Love Light. And I much prefer this song. It's got a good beat. I think he's basically telling you to get up and dance. Mm-hmm. Dip your hip and show your front zizzle with the synth line. Put the wibble in your shoes. It's got some great lyrics in it. It does.
And I really like when the music or like the sound effects react to all of these. So like get the Beatles on the phone and there's that little like you're dialing the phone number. Echo with the bass lick, and there's a bass lick in there. Fizz the whackle for the tone, cue it for the low shake, and then there's the shakers. Yeah. All of that. I do how reactive the song is to the lyrics, and it's just it puts me in a fun mood, and I'm happy listening to it. So I wish actually it was on the Rudebox album instead of. I'm going to think about it. I'll come back to you.
Okay. I love the funky old school electro intro on this one. Just brilliant right from the start. And then from the front to the back, put hump in your back. Whatever that means.
I like Make Mine a 99. So that's got to be a Mr. Whippy ice cream with a flake, Whippy. Isn't it?
I would imagine, unless it's some,
unless it's a
code
drug
word
reference
for a drug.
Or something. I don't
Could
know.
be, we're too sensible for that. So. It's another very eccentric and trippy track. It's a bit of a head spinner, especially when Rob starts saying, "Woo, mess me up" over and over again. That's kind of like a bit odd.
Yeah.
Also, his vocal sounds a bit weird. He's talking for most of it, but it sounds fairly sort of expressionless and empty. I guess that's purposeful. But it just sounds a bit strange. And then I was thinking, well, what is a nunk? What is an electronic nunk?
Don't know.
So if you look it up on the internet, you'll find a few odd slang meanings. But I think the most feasible one for this is N means for new wave, which is mixed with funk, which blended together, you get nunk. And there was a band called Warp 9 who released a track called Nunk in 1982. So, and it's actually worth a listen on YouTube if you like that kind of funky old school electric sound, because I'm pretty sure that Rob likes that track.
Probably,
if you listen to it, it's very Rudebox album-esque, not just Rudebox as a song.
Yeah.
And then we come to the word zizzle, because I was interested, what the bloody hell does a zizzle mean? There's a few different meanings for this. As Lucy's rightly pointed out to me, it could mean a lighter made by Zippo.
Yeah.
You're right. Very, very likely to mean that. Or it's similar to the word sizzle, which is when you make the hissing sound of fat, or, you're very hot or very angry. So, yeah.
Oh, also ESL and shock break. I tried to find out what ESL meant.
Yeah.
Google says it's a German esports organizer. Yeah, ESL Gaming. I doubt it's that. Or it could mean English as a second language. But also nowadays it can mean European Super League in football. But obviously that didn't exist when Rob wrote this song. And it still doesn't exist now, I believe, even though I'm not a football fan. So yeah, there we go. I like Mess Me Up. I think that would have been better on In and Out of Consciousness.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it would slot into, for me at least, Kiss Me.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'd switch out Kiss Me for Mess Me Up.
Yeah. But I guess they put Kiss Me on because they wanted a few more poppier type songs.
Yeah.
Maybe to placate the more pop fans. Yeah. Okay, so should we go on to the next song?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
The Only One I Know, written by Rob Collins, John Day, Tim Burgess, John Brooks and Martin Blunt of The Charlatans. This cover appeared on Mark Ronson's Version album, which came out on the 14th of June 2007, and it also featured on In and Out of Consciousness. This featured on Mark's second album, which included only cover versions with a retro-inspired sound and reached number 2 in the UK. It included songs with Lily Allen, Daniel Merriweather, Amy Winehouse and Kasabian. Mark explained he didn't have a record deal for this second album as he'd been dropped by his record company, so he was just working with friends for free. I always liked Robbie since the first time I heard Millennium, which has the James Bond You Only Live Twice string sample on it. And I just think he's got a great sense of the British cheeky pop melody, and he brings that to his music. So when he asked to work, I went to his house and we just talked about some ideas, and hopefully we'll get to work again with him sometime, because I do have a lot of respect for him as an artist.
The Only One I Know was the Charlatans' second single, their first top 10 hit. It hit number 9 in the UK, 5 on the modern rock chart in the US. The song has lines from the Byrds' 1967 hit, Everybody's Been Burned, and the melody features an organ riff from Deep Purple's song Hush. Tim Burgess said, "It's about teenage feelings. I like somebody, why do they not like me? I'm still not sure which bit is the chorus. The title and main hook is in the verse, but the intro, before the main song crashes in, gives people just enough time to get on the dance floor."
In 2007, Tim Burgess joined Mark Ronson on stage at Glastonbury to sing the song. Tim said in his book Vinyl Adventures from Istanbul to San Francisco, Mark had done a cover version of the song with Robbie Williams, reinterpreting it as a 1970s US cop show theme. It was a song we always thought was untouchable, but he did a pretty good job. He then asked if I fancied jumping in with them on that song in Paris and at Coachella. I went to both and we had a ball. A blurry version of that Glasgow performance is available on YouTube, so check it out.
Yeah. The Only One I Know. Matt?
Can I start?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got a few
Okay.
few fun facts on this. Well, they might not be, but this is a classic indie song. It's got quite a different start to the original version, so which had more sort of keyboards and electric guitar. So you can definitely hear the Mark Ronson flavour and vibe and funky beat, brass section sort of feel to this. And Robbie's vocal tone works really well with this song. It is a Charlatans classic, so it's one of those you've got to get careful with. The memories of this song have been etched into my brain because when I was around about 16, I had a job in a local supermarket called Presto. Not sure if they're around anymore. And I used to work on a delicatessen. It was a really great job. And And I remember that the store manager had like these special tapes. It was this little tiny tapes that he used to put into this tape player for the store in-store music. But he only had 2 tapes. One of the tapes was like pop and the other one was like more indie tracks. And I used to like the indie tracks. And this song, the only one I know, was on the indie track. And so I must have listened to it, I don't know, 10,000 times because I did a lot of shifts in that supermarket part-time. And it was playing a lot. So it's kind of etched into my brain. So when I heard Robbie doing it, it was like, oh, okay, I know that song. Yeah. I really like it.
Yeah, I do.
Did a good job of it.
What do you think, Jacek?
I do really like it as well. It brilliantly showcases what Mark Ronson, could do and what kind of potential he would have for his future career that he has right now with, all the songs with Bruno Mars and later on and before with Amy Winehouse and so on and so on. So I do like it. I do like the brass sections in it, and now that you mention it's like a 70s cop theme
funny,
tune,
isn't
it does ring a bell. Yeah. But for some reason I've got a MP3 version on my iTunes that's slightly different to the one on the streaming platforms. So I'm not sure if that's because it's a radio edit or something, but it's got the it goes from one section to another in a slightly different way. So I'm more used to my local copy version than the one that's on the streaming sites at the moment. Yeah.
I think it's another great Mark Ronson production. He always does it really well, doesn't he? He seems to just have an ability to just turn a song into something incredible. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically, if Tim Burgess, who wrote the song, was happy with it, then that says it all, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Normally, people don't like it when people have covered it, but if he was happy and was happy to get up and sing it with him, then that just goes to show how good it was, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, so I think we can probably go on to the next song, can't we?
Sure. One story I wanted to say, since we've finished with all the Rudebox songs, pretty much, and all the B-sides from there. Yeah. My mum actually mentioned this to me when I called her during the break, and she said, "Oh, by the way, tell them that we still have a load of promotional posters and stuff in our basement." And I was like, "Excuse me?" Because basically the record company at the time would send out to various fans like posters and stuff, and we were supposed to put them up all over town. And the thing is, it wasn't 100% how it was supposed to be done, because you couldn't just go around and put a poster up on any wall or anywhere. But that's what happened, and I'm not going to say who told us to do that. But yeah, I've got loads of Robbie posters still that I didn't manage to put anywhere because it was difficult to do so. But we did put up some, and I'm not blaming that for the album's success, but I might have had a little hand in it. No, it's we've got some of those, and some. I think we got a T-shirt for that in a single or an album from the record company to do that. Yeah, that's the old school marketing that used to happen.
Maybe that's where you got that version of Summertime.
No, it's not. No. Maybe. Well, who knows? That'd be a gem to have. Like this golden grail of stuff that the normal fans can't get and buy, and you get this. But yeah, unfortunately not. Yeah, but that's just another Rudebox story that I thought I'd jump in.
So you were sent out to work by your mum, fly posting all over Krakow.
Yeah. We had those like little flyers to give out to people. We gave loads of those out, but they sent us way more than there was like 2 of us or 3 of us that were supposed to deal with all that.
Wow.
That stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it was a good time. There was a lot of Robbie in Poland at that time, between intensive care and a bit of Rudebox, and yeah, ever since Escapology, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so the next
Right,
song
next
is Lola,
Lola.
written by Ray Davies from the Kinks, although Ray's brother Dave maintains he helped write the guitar riff and should have been credited too. Rob covered this for Radio 1's established 1967 album, which came out on the 1st of October 2007. It also appears on In and Out of Consciousness. It originally appeared on the Kinks album Lola vs. Power Man and The Money Go Round Part 1 in June 1970. It's also been covered by McFly, Madness and more. The Radio 1 album was a collection of specially recorded covers to commemorate the 40th anniversary of BBC Radio 1. It included one song each from every year of its operation and featured covers by Kaiser Chiefs, Amy Winehouse, Kylie, Keane, Lily Allen, Mark Ronson, Girls Aloud, and loads more. Each artist was given a different year and asked to record a track that was a top 20 hit in that particular year.
Chris Heath pointed out in Reveal that this cover was produced by Guy, meaning Rob and Guy were quietly working together again, but no one noticed. During this period, they also covered Rufus Wainwright's April Fools, which has never appeared anywhere. And they wrote Let's Get Ugly, which we will cover in the In and Out of Consciousness episode. Rob was sensitive about people thinking they'd only worked together because Rudebox hadn't gone well. According to louder.com, Lola is a sly tale of a transvestite affair which offered a template for the eminent androgynous glam era. Ray said that it was originally written as a nursery rhyme for his baby daughter Victoria. The first phrase was simply something for her to sing along to. La 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 la. I added the transvestite stuff later. The line originally said Coca-Cola rather than Cherry Cola, but the BBC refused to play it and advertise Coca-Cola. So Ray flew from New York to London to re-record the line so that it could be played on the radio. You don't need to do that these days, do you?
No. Lola tells the story of a provincial male virgin's night out in Soho, where a gorgeous woman's dance floor power and dark brown voice hint she's not what she seems. Ray has said this was based on real events, mentioning his dance with a beautiful woman in 1965. It was a real experience in a club. I was asked to dance by somebody who was a fabulous-looking woman. I said, no thank you, and she went in a cab with my manager straight afterwards. It's based on personal experience, but not every word. The final verse sees him back at her place, shoving Lola away and making to leave when the facts become plain, only to drop to his knees in relief. After all, girls will be boys and boys will be girls. I know what I am, and I'm glad I'm a man, and so is Lola.
Kinks drummer Mick Avery believes Carnaby Street PR Michael McGrath was key. Being called the Kinks did attract these sorts of people. He used to have this place in Earl's Court, and he used to invite me to all these drag queen acts and transsexual pubs. They were like secret clubs, and that's where Ray got the idea for Lola. He was invited too. He wrote it while I was getting drunk. The song originally hit number 2 in the UK and number 9 in the USA in 1970, and Ray explained to Rolling Stone in 2014 why this song didn't cause more of an uproar considering its storyline. The subject matter was concealed, he said. It's a crafty way of writing, I say. She walked up to me and people think it's a woman. The story unfolds better if the song were called I Dated a Drag Queen. So there we go. Lola.
Jacek, would you like to go?
I do like Lola.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that backstory up until a couple of years ago, or definitely not when it came out back in 2007. And also, what a lineup of people on that established 1967 project.
Yeah.
With all these covers. I got a copy of a recorded Chris Moyles show version. At the end, he just comes in saying, Robbie Williams there with the Kinks, Lola, all part of our established 1967 project, where we will be repeating all of these exclusive cover versions, I hope, and then it stops. and that's how I remember the song. Like
That's ingrained in your brain.
By that bootleg copy, and if I listen to the original without that at the end, it just sounds weird. Yeah, so I do like that song. Yeah, obviously I was growing up at the time, and some of the lyrics resonated with me. With well, I left home just a week before. I never really kissed a woman before, but Lola smiled and took me by the hand and said, "Dear boy, I'm going to make you a man." And I was like, "Yes, well, maybe that will happen sometime."
Yeah.
So yeah, I did like that song, and I totally didn't get that's about the transvestite.
No, I didn't
story.
either.
Nor did I.
No.
Nor did I. You know, it was only doing this project, working on this podcast, because we were looking at it. That's when I realised it. So I was like, I was just reading the lyrics. I was like, well, I'm not the world's most masculine man, but I know what I am, and I'm glad I'm a man, and so is Lola. And that's like the bit at the end, isn't it? And then I was reading it back and thinking, is Lola glad that I'm a man, or is Lola a man? And then I was like, oh, Lola's a man. Right, okay. And I have known that song all my life. I mean,
but that's the thing, like
way before I was born.
It says, yeah, and I'm glad I'm a man, and so is Lola. That I'm glad I'm a man. That she made me that man because I was a boy when she kissed me. So that's how I understood it.
It's clever. That's why he said it's kind
hidden.
of concealed and hidden. But I definitely realised it when I wrote it down and thought, oh, He's got his best raspy rock voice on for this vocal. You know, he's adjusted. He adjusts his voice occasionally. He's definitely got that going on. It's a classic sing-along track. It is one of those songs where if it's played at a party or at a gig or something, people will just sing along to it.
Yeah.
Hello, LA, low. You know, that is just a classic. So yeah, Lola's a man.
Did he play it live at any time? I don't think I've ever seen him.
I don't think so.
I don't think he has.
Because it came out in 2007 when he was retired.
Yeah,
so.
Retired for busman's holiday.
Yeah. So I don't think he ever has, no.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Shame, but I do feel like he fits, and I thought he chose it because he was getting, quite a lot of attention that maybe he's gay secretly or something, and that's why he's alone and single, and potentially that's why he chose to cover that song.
Yeah,
I think my parents had a Kinks album when we were younger, and on vinyl, of course. And I'm pretty sure that used to be played quite a lot. Lola, yeah. So,
and obviously, She's Madonna came out where he was a transvestite.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I prefer Rob's version to the original, of course.
Yeah,
like when you listen to the original, the vocals really kind of soft and quiet, and I just prefer Rob's rockier version. It's got more oomph. Yeah. But I guess that what was released at the time, that was quite fitting at the time. That's sort of, a bit calmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I like them both equally. Well, the Kinks, classic. Robbie's done a great job, of course, but it's the Kinks.
I don't think my parents were into the Kinks. I don't remember them ever playing them.
Rock and roll.
Right, should we go on to the next one then?
Yes.
Please Don't Talk About Me When I'm Gone. This was a posthumous duet with Rob's idol Dean Martin, which featured on Dean's Forever Cool album. It peaked at 39 on the Billboard chart and came out on the 14th of August 2007. It's a cover of a Sidney Clare song and uses the archived voice tracks of Dean to create the duet with Rob. The album was a compilation of duets released 12 years after Dean's death. It also featured Kevin Spacey, Joss Stone, and others we've never heard of. The song was originally released in 1930 and was written by Sam Stept and Sidney Clare. An early recording was by Gene Austin and Burt Lone. The other covers include Harry Connick Jr., Bing Crosby, Doris Day, and Ella Fitzgerald. Dean covered it in 1960 for his album This Time I'm Swingin'. Jamie Cullum sung this on Michael Parkinson's final chat show.
So yeah, this is a back to the swing randomly. Obviously, I guess Rob was given the opportunity to duet with Dean Martin during his retirement, and he thought, yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah, I mean, on our Swing album, didn't he say that Dean is the Don?
Yeah, Dean is his favourite. Yeah. So I guess that's why he did this.
So he enjoyed doing the Frank Sinatra work when the Frank Sinatra estate said, come and do this duet. But this was very special for him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't really get it in the UK. I don't think we've ever been able to. I think it was only released in America, from what I can gather.
I reckon Jacek's got a copy of it on MP3. So
I do. I do have it, yeah.
He's got the world's biggest MP3 library over there.
I do. I literally had everything. And, when the Pure Robbie the forum was up, I was all up on it, and people made this massive list of songs. And then I would just scour Google to find if I can find a copy. The one thing I don't have, which I did have one day, is the live recording at Slane of My Name Is, of the Eminem cover, and I'd love to hear that, and I don't have it. So that's something that's definitely missing. I do have that MP3, as you say. Definitely a dream come true for him, because, as you mentioned, he always had him in high regard, Dean Martin, and as we heard, he did pick up the call from Kevin Spacey in the end.
Yes,
because I do believe it was Kevin Spacey's project, or at least he was somehow attached to it, because I remember watching an interview behind the scenes from making of that album, and I think it was kind of like sort of his project, but don't quote me on that exactly.
I couldn't find an awful lot out about this album. In fact, I didn't even know about it until I was writing this episode.
No, it's a lovely gem, and I love how they've managed to almost like they have a conversation, and at the very end, Dean says, "Last time I was this hot, I had a kitty." Or something like that. Yeah. So I do love that, and definitely a highlight for Rob. And it's a shame that it just didn't have more traction and more publicity, because that could have been quite high up, but it was way past Swing When You're Winning's heyday.
Yes. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
What, 5 years later? So 6 years later even,
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice, isn't it? But it doesn't really blow me away, because
it's a really short song as well. It's only 2 minutes.
It's short.
2.5.
Yeah.
It's
quite a sort of calm swing song. So, probably not that impactful for most people that hear it. But I think maybe it was a very, I know it was a very special project for Rob to do. So it's kind of, he did it because it was important to him, I think.
Yeah. Right, let's go on to In and Out of Love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Written by Rob, Calvin and Danny, this came out in December 2007 to the longest standing members of Rob's Inner Sanctum fan site. We didn't receive it though.
No, I don't know. Obviously we were on in the Sanctum, but I guess
really
maybe we
understand.
weren't one of the earliest members. I don't know. Can't remember. But Rob explained in a blog at the time of release, In and Out of Love reminds me of being at The Place, a Stoke-on-Trent nightclub, on nappy night, under 16s night, walking around with my Ocean Pacific skiing jacket on indoors. Too hot to wear, too poor to pay for the relative safety of the cloakroom. Music to not get stabbed to. That's how it was on nappy night. You did well to get home without your head being kicked in. How very grown up. All you could do to guard yourself from the big boys was to develop a sense of humour and always be apologetic for one's very existence. It worked as a 14-year-old, but it's time to let it go when you're 33. Besides, I've got bodyguards now and my own cloakroom. I still won't take my jacket off when I'm out though. Old habits die hard. The lyric is self-explanatory. I'm in and out of love, just like anyone. Danny and Kelvin came with a whole track, including the chorus. I just added some words and a melody-ish for the verses. I know the style isn't quite the same, but the lyric and melody, to me at least, has a Suggs kind of flavour to it. It's dark disco for free and for Christmas. These two songs, this and the next one we'll discuss, are not indicative of what anything else sounds like from the next album. They were just the first two tunes I thought of that were not going to be singles or not going to be something that would fit on an album. I've got a whole bunch of tunes like that at the moment, Too good to be B-sides, not good enough or right enough stylistically to be on the album proper. I'm sure we'll just come up with some fun ways of getting them to you. The internet opens up so many avenues. By the way, if I ever play you snippets like I did with the song Bodies, they will be songs that may or may not go on a future Robbie album, but you can guarantee they won't be singles. He lied there, because Bodies did. So don't get your knickers in a twist about the direction of my
What a Robbie
music,
truth.
because not even I know what it is yet. I wouldn't play anything that resembles a single, knowing that it's going to be up on YouTube. It can go too many places and be used for God knows what. So when it eventually does come out, it wouldn't seem so fresh. I do love YouTube though. So that was like his whole blog entry pretty much when this came out, December 2007. But it just makes me laugh, the whole Bodies comment, because he did release clips of that, didn't he, to us?
He did, yeah.
And said it would never be a single,
Yeah,
and then
and it
it was.
Yeah.
But anyway,
dusted
In and
it
Out
off.
of Love.
Well, I think the chorus sounds similar to Pet Shop Boys style.
Right?
Your precious heart, it scared me from the start of this. My soul in the dark, prepare me for the light. So I kind of got that vibe from it.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure what to make of this song though. So, it's old school disco, it's funky style. Rob's voice sounds a bit strange on this one again. They've kind of done something to it. So yeah, not sure.
I really like it.
It's not that I don't like it. just not sure.
Okay. Yeah, Jacek, what do you think?
In and Out of Love. I do like that song, although the verses, I'm with Matt on this one. The verses are a bit kind of like he's bored slightly, or sounds just a little unenthusiastic.
Yeah.
But I do like the lyric, the verse. It says, I'll be a cameo in your dream, a big pop hero soda stream. Weird, but all right.
Yeah, I like that bit as
How
well.
good was I on your team? You'd like me now, I'm really keen.
Really clean, isn't it?
So I've got the lyrics, I'm really keen, and I think it's clean as well, because
Yeah, I think
that
it's
would
clean.
make more sense. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. Of course. Whew.
I like I can make no sense of the nonsense said. That thing that I said in bed. My filter's broke, so I'm resigned to say the first thing that comes to
my
me
mind. Yes.
Yeah.
That was another.
Yeah, I think it's a
highlight
good
there.
song. It's got a great melody, and I prefer the chorus as well, actually, I have to say, to the verses. Yeah. I did write that down.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's good. It's a B-side.
Yeah. Well, it's not
Because-
even, it's unreleased, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
or an unreleased song. So yeah, but it doesn't do enough for me to like put it on a playlist, I think.
Yeah. But
Unfortunately, but I do I do like occasional listens of it.
The deep voiced backing vocal reminded me of Barry White for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, in and out,
Yeah.
in and out.
But yeah, it's a shame that it hasn't been released properly somewhere, even just on iTunes or something, just to buy for 99p.
Yeah, yeah.
People don't buy music anymore, Lisa.
Oh, come on, I do.
They give it
They're into
away.
subscriptions.
But you can get it on YouTube. And I think what we'll do is we'll make a YouTube playlist on our YouTube account, Robbie Williams Rewind, with all the unreleased songs. So people can listen to them all in a row and hear what we're talking about.
But they're all available on our episode webpage, of course.
Oh, the links,
But
yeah.
you're talking about putting them all on one playlist.
Just like a playlist,
Yeah. So
you
if
can
people
just
do
click
want
play,
access
yeah.
to these straight away, if you go to the episode webpage, you can find the Spotify, Apple and YouTube links, if they're available.
Yeah,
If they're not there.
yeah.
Yep. Then
So
you
should we
have
talk
to
about-
ask me.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, no.
we'll come back to you, definitely, in your vast digital library.
Yep.
So shall we move on to Break America?
Yeah.
Break America. Yes.
So written by Rob, Calvin and Danny, this was given to the longest standing members of the Inner Sanctum in December 2007. Written in 2006, just before going to Australia for the Close Encounters tour, Rob said, "It is meant to be ironic. I think it sounds like The Sweet meets Acid House meets a pub somewhere in the Midlands. It makes me laugh, and I haven't got bored of playing it yet, so it must be all right. Rob sung this on Karaoke in 2020.
In a blog post in 2011, he said, "My friends and I from Stoke, Kelv and Danny, had a great time. Robbie didn't make it into America. Everyone rejoice. One of you failed. In that song, I am part of a long-haired rock band, typical of the 80s, playing in a skating rink in Milwaukee. Then we marched to a radio station with the vinyl record in hand and we asked them to play it. They accept, and hey, we made it to America. Speaking of America, I once tried with The Ego Has Landed, and that album sold over 1 million copies, and I decided not to try again. Too much work. I didn't even make it in Japan. If I had and was successful in America now, I would live in Japan, you know?" There we go. Break America. I kind of forgotten about this song.
Yeah, I had.
Yeah, it was nice to see him sing it on Karaoke though. It's kind of funky, and you can tell that it's got Kelvin and Danny's influence. I think it's quite Rudebox-esque.
Oh yeah.
It's got, catchy beat. It's quite shouty in the verses. Yeah. And so I also like with In and Out of Love, I prefer the chorus of this one, and it kind of weirdly reminds me of Radio. I don't know why. It just does. Anyone else?
Yeah, like Radio's
Sort of
younger
nuttiness.
cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have definitely misheard lyrics because I have no idea. You know when he's got that deep voice on and he does the being an alien act, catching the bills or not.
Yeah, I think because when he sang it on Insta Live on Karaoke, you could hear what he was saying a bit more. So on there, it seemed to me he was saying being the alien, actual resident.
Resident.
And then he was saying provocative anthropod, let's break America. And an anthropod is an insect, arachnid, myriapod or crustacean.
All
but
right.
it doesn't sound like that's what he's saying on the actual track. But when he was singing it on Insta Live, that's what it sounded like.
I thought it was provocative and revile. Let's break America.
Yeah.
So revile, a difficult word, which I found out recently means, just bear with me a second, to criticize in an abusive or angrily insulting manner.
Yeah.
Revile.
But he is known to get his own lyrics wrong, so when he was singing it on Insta Live, he could have been making it up anyway.
I love the fact that the beginning of it sounds like an old school computer game. That was something I picked.
It is,
on.
yes. Yeah.
And then the line, "All your kids are fat. They sit where they sat. So big you could bounce them on the water. My UK's in entropy and it's dull as fuck. Let's bounce the shit on the water." Or let's bounce shit on the water.
Yeah, it's definitely a song that even though it says break America, it wouldn't break America.
Yeah.
No.
Being insulted.
No,
So,
it's a very strange, weird song about breaking America.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to put this song out, which will definitely cement I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Also, I think he's singing, "We're going to know it now. We're getting on a plane. We're going to do a radio show and break a Guinness record." Because I know that's not what it says online.
Break
but
it with
break a Guinness
this
record. Because obviously he's broke Guinness records for selling so many concert tickets in a day, etc. So that would...
Right.
I think that's what he's saying, isn't it?
Could be.
Yeah.
I thought it was break it with this record.
Yeah, I know. But then when I listened to
Sounds
it,
about right.
I
Yeah.
thought it was Guinness record, yeah.
Could be.
Well, he likes Norris McWhirter, so...
But yeah, I think
Oh,
it should have been somewhere around, the Rudebox B-sides. I would have put it in instead of Lone Star Rising, potentially. But that might have been controversial if, Rudebox was a single and he comes out with Break America that's bouncing fat kids around on the water.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
So, should we go on to Someday with Well, this is a very
yes.
mysterious song.
Very mysterious, and if I may start a very difficult listen.
Yes, I
be
agree.
honest.
Yes.
So it's a very mysterious track, apparently released to the internet in April 2005 and supposedly written by Calvin and Alvin Waters, also known as the Machine Group. While all fans were expecting a new album to be released before the end of 2005, this strange song hit the internet. At first, just a 59-second clip with 3 artists, a rapper, a singer and Robbie. The song was apparently produced by this mysterious rapper called Dillon, D-Y, and then separate word, L-O-N. And the track was even offered a few months later for download on the EMI Germany website. And the song was called Someday.
Sometime later, the complete song was broadcast on the internet. Apparently, it should have been titled Somewhere Maybe Not Distant. The singer's name, however, remains unknown. It is not known exactly when this song was officially released, nor under what artist's name it was published. Also, it is unknown if this was just a digital track or was available on physical format. There is also a rather ironic part in the lyrics when the rapper asks at one point, "Where's the rude boy?" Rob only sings about 50 seconds of the entire 4-minute song.
So I was playing this in the kitchen the other week, preparing for this episode, and my daughter came in and was like, "What are you listening to?" Because it's quite a hard rapping kind of
Hardcore.
just not my usual music, and I like the bits that Robbie sings, but that's about it. What do you think, Matt?
Well, I didn't really have too much to say about it. It's really not my cup of tea. It's got quite a sort of chilled vibe to it, even though it is a sort of a hardcore sort of weird sort of rap. It's very different to Rob's usual stuff, even when he's doing weird, different stuff. It's not normally the kind of stuff that he does. I did write one line down. "This ain't a quest. You're not the Holy Grail. I'll be persistent because you know that I'm a male." That was a bit of a provocative line.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you reckon?
Is. Well, yeah, it's as I said, a very difficult listen, and definitely something Rob was potentially trying out, but if I do say so myself, it does not suit.
Yeah.
I'm not even keen on his singing because it kind of gives me vibes of I was just listening to that song, My Culture.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But that's way too
That's
good.
brilliant.
But worse.
Yeah.
Much, much worse. Like, we're just trying stuff out and it's not the final song.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Yeah.
Do you think he thought it was a bit of a cool sort of project to get involved with, maybe a bit experimental again?
Yeah, or it might have been, even EMI just having like bits of his vocal just being like, we'll give this to this guy called Dylan and maybe it'll be something, but it never came to fruition and it just leaked or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. But then I did have one thought when I was listening to it. It took me back and I thought, what is it that this sounds like? It sounds like something else. And no one will believe what I'm about to say. But it sounded to me like a PJ and Duncan album track of their album Psych, called Girlfriend, and I challenge you all to go and listen to it. You'll have a good laugh.
Right.
But the backing singer that Ant and Dec have got on that song sounds a bit like the women on this song, and the way they say someday on this song we're talking about is exactly the same as the way they say girlfriend on their song. And there's something about it that sounds the same, and I'm quite sure that this Dylan person, whoever it is that is singing with Robbie, would not be impressed with that comparison.
But Lucy, it's a great way of getting Ant and Dec or PJ and Duncan into the podcast.
Yeah,
that's
why
very
not?
clever of you to do that.
Yeah,
Indeed, yes.
And I maintain that they did have some
friends of the
classic
show.
songs.
Two of Lucy's mass heroes, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's an interesting viewpoint on a very odd song.
Yeah.
We'll have to go and check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are there for this episode, and it comes to that point where we are going to have to choose from this very eclectic mix of songs our favourites.
Well, it's easy for me.
Well, I think you two have got it down, but then Jacek's looking a little bit not sure now. So
I'm unsure now because there's one song that I really want to include. And I'm not sure if it's going to be included.
Well, mine's easy. Mine is the 90s, no question.
Of course it is.
It is a classic masterpiece, and I absolutely love everything about it.
Well done, Lucy. 90s.
Well done.
Easy.
It had to be. Would you like me to go next?
Yeah, yes, please. Yes, please. Yes.
Well, it makes it a bit difficult because let's just go for it. I'm going to go for Dickhead.
Yes! Yes! Nice one.
There's something in me that says that's very inappropriate, but let's get it on there.
Yeah.
Let's get it on there. We all enjoyed talking about it so much, and I must admit, it was difficult to make a choice out of all these. So anyway, Dickhead.
Nice.
Yes,
Jacob, who actually just arrived, that I went and opened the door for.
Yeah.
He's the Jacob that I listened
in the car
to
with.
Dickhead in the car. So we're going to listen to it now as we go. He's going to be chuffed. This was chosen. Well, that's great because I wanted to choose Dickhead and it was on my list. Now it's a toss up between the 80s and Mess Me Up.
Oh.
And yeah, I think the 80s has to win and be included. I'd love to include Mess Me Up if we were to say choose your B-sides or other songs outside of Rudebox. So I think I'd choose Mess Me Up. But yeah, the 80s, it has to be on that.
It does.
On that playlist.
It
so
does.
yeah, I'm just going to go with that.
The 80s. Cool.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So the 90s, the 80s, and Dickhead.
Yeah,
What
a
selection.
solid end to the album.
All written with Jerry. So
Yes.
we've got to give an extra special shout out to Jerry.
A shout out to Jerry. Come on the podcast and we can talk about how that all went for you.
Yes.
Well, Jacek, thank you very much for
thank
your
you.
time on
It
both
was-
episodes with us.
It was
been
an absolute pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure.
I love your deep analysis and your very in-depth knowledge. I think we've only just scratched the surface with what you know, and also your digital collection seems to be more extensive than anyone else I know.
It's
so I
super
think
vast,
you've done very well there.
I'm going to be asking you for MP3s of songs.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. If you've got some that you don't know if you know of a song that I might not have, then I'll need to research that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've been steadily collecting stuff ever since I got my computer and laptop. So so there's loads there, and Rudebox radio episodes and everything else. So yeah, it's a vast collection.
So, just before we wrap up this episode, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out. And also, Lucy and I would really appreciate it if you can leave us a star rating. You can do this on both Apple and Spotify podcasts. We would also love it if you could write us a short review, and you can do this on Apple. Don't forget, you can check out our episode notes for each episode and links to all tracks and videos at robbiewilliamsrewind.com. You can also email us at email@robbiewilliamsrewind.com. Please also follow and chat on our social channels. It's @RewindRobbie on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. And you can also like and follow our Facebook page, Robbie Williams Rewind. And before we return to this episode, you might also consider sending us one of your own Robbie stories for the show. Just record a short audio clip on your phone and email it to us. Please check the website for more details. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
And will we see you physically this year? Are you going to any of the gigs?
Oh, I would love that. Yeah, I hope to be in Stoke.
Cool.
I've got a ticket, so
Good.
yeah, looking forward to
We
that.
will see
My
you in
mate
Stoke.
is getting married a week later, but I'll try to be there in Stoke. Hopefully, maybe get a cheeky job on it as well. We'll see. That'd be great. But we'll see. Fingers crossed. And yeah, so definitely let's see each other in June.
Yeah.
if it will happen, fingers crossed it will.
It will.
Yeah.
And thanks very much for having me on the show. I feel very, humbled and when I got the message, I was very happy to have been asked to be on it. I know we spoke about various, topics that I could speak about. I could speak about most of them, but yeah, this was definitely a good one to do a deep dive into. And stuff's happened during this album that impacted my life as well. So yeah, it was a good chat, and I did enjoy finding out a bit more about you as well, and what you thought about some of the tracks and stuff. And I don't know what else there is to say, but have a great
there is one more thing
weekend.
to say.
Yes.
Shout out to your mum.
Yeah.
Shout out to my mum.
You have to shout out to your mum.
Yes, exactly. The PhD is coming out of the Robbie Williams subject. Don't worry, Mum. Eventually, a uni will give me that degree. The degree of the champions will definitely give me that degree. Thank you very much, Mum.
Yes.
And of everyone who I met over the years following Rob and going to gigs, and or Asha, Basha, Monica, and Marek, and Aika, and Paula, who wanted to go to Vegas with me after that Krakow show.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we didn't manage to make it there, and then everything was cancelled in 2020. So yeah, our plans kind of fell by the wayside, and we never managed to get there, but hopefully one time.
Good. So we'll see you later
next
this
time.
year then.
Just wanted to also say thanks for listening to the listeners.
If you tune into the next episode, we will be discussing Reality Killed the Video Star with a Robbie tribute artist, Tony Lewis. I'm sure lots of you know him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Tune in
you.
for
Oh,
that.
exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
lovely. I'm looking forward to that one, and you should definitely subscribe to all the iTunes podcasts and Spotify podcasts and wherever else this podcast is, and
we're
download
everywhere.
and listen and give it 5
Thank you,
stars
Jacek.
and likes and everything else. And I'm going
Thank
to
you.
definitely share it to all my friends. And finally, as I did end the first part of this Rudebox deep dive. Mum, this is your son podcasting. I love you. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Jacek.
Jacek.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. Have a
Bye,
good
everyone.
weekend. Bye.
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 Robbie Williams Rewind.